Welcome to Testify Podcast, where we hear great stories of what Jesus has done and doing in the lives of people from Chapel. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. Maybe it's your first time listening. Maybe it's for those who watch every single episode. It's fantastic. And this morning we have Manny joining us as well. So thank you for being here.
Praise the Lord, oh my soul.
Emmanuel Campese.
Thanks for having me here, guys.
It's good.
It's great you're here.
First time on Testify.
Yep.
Wow. How do you feel?
How did that come about? Who do we have to thank for that, Emmanuel?
My sister, Jasmine.
Shot Jasmine.
She came up to me, Emmanuel, do you want to do the Testify podcast? And I'm thinking, that's the one on YouTube, right? Yeah. Well, I don't like being on the internet and all that stuff. So I'm just going to think about it. But while praying to God and all that stuff, with what recently happened in my life, with my testimony, my most recent one, I just loved it and I wanted to share with everyone. And when I was praying to God, he was just so simple in what he said. You want to share your testimony, right? Yeah. Why don't you go on the podcast? And I'm like, that's so simple and that's such a good point. But, man, you really had to make me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But, hey, if it can reach a lot of people, then
That's cool.
it's worth it being a bit uncomfortable.
If it encourages one person, bro, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you were born and bred on the Gold Coast?
Yep.
There you go.
Italiano,
Yeah.
Italian, Australian, Italian,
Yep.
strong Italian family.
Yeah, mum and dad, both Italian, so I'm Italian as well. But
Makes sense.
yeah, well,
You
my
do
parents.
speak it?
I was just about to say, my parents. They always say to me, "You're Italian," but I have such an Aussie accent, and my Italian is absolutely terrible.
Right.
Do not use me as a translator; it won't go well. But when they talk, I can understand a little bit,
Right.
bits and pieces, and sort of form a sentence, but then.
You can't speak it.
Can you? Yeah, you can't. So you couldn't say like right now into the microphone, it's great to be here today.
No,
Okay.
I just know like very basic stuff. Like, for example, if my mum were to watch this, she'd probably be like, "That's wrong. You don't say it like that." But just like, for example, "Scusi, dove la gabinetto?" Like, where's the bathroom? Something like
I was going to say, where's the toilet will be one of the things that
Yeah, or can I have a glass of water?
Something like that.
my
Yeah.
name is,
Yeah.
That sounded pretty Italian. I don't know any Italian, but I'm sure that was spot on.
The only Italian I know is arrivederci.
Yeah, that's a classic. Everyone knows that.
Mi scusi? That's what you just said. Hey, mi scusi.
Yeah.
That's so Italian.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Mi scusi?
Okay, so born in Australia, Italian roots. Have you been to Italy?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
2 times, I believe.
Okay.
First was all the way back in almost 10 years ago.
That's why you can't remember it, maybe.
Can't remember that much. But then more recently, it's like in 2016, 2017, something like that. But yeah, everyone will always say the food is amazing. It absolutely is. And you get fat there very quick. But when I came back to Australia, I'm like, man, the food here sucks.
Yeah, so tasty. But your mum is cook extraordinaire.
Yeah, that reminds me we need to do a podcast in your kitchen. We talked about that. I don't think you were here.
I've seen Jasmine's Testify podcast, and I heard that, but I'm thinking Mum probably won't do that.
I reckon she might if we're cooking pasta. Okay, but just off.
I won't be doing much talking.
Yeah, just off topic for a second.
Yep.
Is the pasta that much better in Italy?
From recent memory, it does taste different enough to be a little bit better, but not mind-blowingly amazing.
Yeah, it's not like, oh my gosh, this is barely pasta compared to
Like the best example I can come up with is gnocchi. You ever had
Oh,
gnocchi?
yeah.
Store-bought gnocchi is okay, but I've had freshly made Italian gnocchi. That is amazing. That's really good.
Eaten yet this morning.
Me neither.
Stop talking about pasta.
Anyway, praise the Lord.
So born on the Gold Coast,
Yep,
raised. You were always in church.
pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
Born in church.
Born into church.
Yeah, born into a Christian family.
Yep.
Ever since as long as I can remember, I'd always go to church with my family, mum and dad, my sister, and I used to go to Surf City Church.
Yes.
They're now known as Presence,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, back then it was Surf City with good old Pastor Richard
Awesome.
Nugent.
Amazing.
And
man.
yeah, he was really good. Then been there for like what 20 plus years or something like that.
Wow.
Then
So your faith, right? So it was clearly your parents
yeah,
for however many years. That's not a bad thing. That's not a wrong thing. It's just how it works, right? This is your tribe you're brought up in, the environment you're brought up. It's all you know. It's what you practice. What was God to you during that time, like
Good question.
of growing up in the church? What was God to you?
the way that I see it is when I was just a kid, I was doing what my parents told me and doing what they did. So when they would go to church, I feel like, oh yeah, I'm a Christian, just like my parents, going to church, doing all the stuff. But then I remember one day, it was either my mum or dad that said to me, Emmanuel, what you're doing is good, coming to church, being a part of it. But until you truly accept God in your heart, you're not a real Christian yet.
Right.
And that just, I was like, what? I thought what I was doing was being a Christian. No,
You're behaving like a Christian.
behaving like a Christian, but not fully following God and like understanding and listening to what he says.
It was great they said that to you. Do you remember how old you were? Not really.
Not really, but I was pretty
3.
young. So 3 years old.
You're not a real Christian.
I'm
Wow.
hungry. Okay. And what did that do to you? What was your response to that?
I just thought I thought what I was doing was right, but apparently not. All right. I'll think about it. And how do I become a Christian like you guys? You got to give your heart to the Lord. You got to choose to give your heart to the Lord, not because we told you, but you got to do it
That's
out of
cool.
your own
That
volition.
is really
That's cool.
So when I was 12, 13, something like that, I remember Pastor Michael Barrett
Oh, yeah.
was preaching. And then he said the altar call at the end and said the classic sinner's prayer. If your heart's beating and if you feel like God's knocking on your heart, raise your hands and then say the sinner's prayer with me and you'll become a Christian. And I'm thinking, oh, it's that easy, but why don't I want to lift my hand?
Yeah, right.
It was
A battle.
a battle inside, yeah.
And so he said, some of you are battling right now. You're feeling like there's a battle. Then you say, oh man, I just need a sign. Some of you are saying I need a sign.
Some of you need a sign.
If he asks one more time, that's a sign.
Yeah. But
Did you actually respond that night?
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Lifted up my hand, went down to the front, a bunch of other
Come on,
people.
Manny.
Yeah.
And then that's when my real Christian journey began.
And it's been plain sailing and simple since. Is that right?
If only. If only. Well,
Yeah. So that's when it. Do you feel like, okay, you've made that decision, I've got to walk this out myself? Did your parents sort of encourage you but let you find that and discover that for yourself?
yeah. From
Yeah.
what I remember, yeah. They weren't
Okay.
like controlling me and telling me what to do.
Yeah.
But just, if I had any questions and I'd ask them, they'd answer in the
Yeah.
best way they could.
Yeah.
Because no one's perfect and no one knows everything.
Yeah.
But, I had a general question and then they'd answer. I'm like, yeah, that seems right.
Cool.
Being a young, impressionable kid.
Yeah.
So what was it like? You spent your teenage years going to youth and hanging out and then to young adults. Like what was there any encounters in those times? Was there any challenges?
From what I can remember, Not really, but just trying to remember because it was that long ago. And the best way I can describe it is, have you guys ever seen the Lego movie, the first one?
I think I've watched it with my kids.
I remember a scene from, I remember a scene how when the main character Emmett was just with his friends, his builder buddies, and talking to them. It was like very shallow conversation, but you don't know that until way later when good cop, bad cop shows him a video. It's like, oh, this is what they really think about you. And they're like,
I've seen
Emmett,
that.
who's that? I sort of know him, but I don't really know him. So for me, it was quite shallow, to be honest. Again, not to talk bad, because they're a great church. I got respect for them because that's where I started my journey with God. But just, yeah, it wasn't a really deep fellowship and connection with the youth there and people there. So I remember when I was in the cinema, I was watching it and I was holding back my tears. I'm like, why do I feel like that
The church you're going to.
at the church I'm going to? It just feels hollow and empty and not much substance. Like people are cardboard cutouts.
But people would have that same viewpoint about chapel.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Well, everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
So when you had that realization, what did you do? Did you sink more into yourself, or did you remove yourself more from people, or
Bit of a combination of both.
okay,
You know, I tried to be friendly with everyone, but
yeah,
no one just, like, I've seen other people hold conversations really well, and then when I try, it just falls flat really quick. And I'm thinking, do I suck at holding conversations? Is it me, or is it something else? Like, and it kept on happening every Sunday, every like youth event that there was. It just,
Do you ask yourself that conversation? Is it me? Do I suck at holding conversations?
yeah.
It's pretty cool to ask yourself that question and to reflect like that. A lot of people wouldn't.
it's everyone else's fault.
Yeah.
Oh, I've went through that phase. Don't worry. But after trying to find a point, that's when I said to myself, is it me? Do I need to change or something? And then fast forward a little bit, some unfortunate stuff happened and we don't go to that church anymore. And then I remember it like it was yesterday. When we left, I was kind of happy because I'm like, I don't have to, try to get blood out of a stone and talk to people. I can just finally chill and relax for a bit. But then obviously isolating, being alone, it's not healthy for anyone.
Yeah.
So that was just making me go in a worse downward spiral. And then my sister Jasmine was church hopping a bit with her friend, and I've been there once, and I'm thinking that this is the same like Surf City. I just don't like it. And then I remember saying to God, like, why does church suck? I'm very blunt. I'm very plain. I'm very simple.
Made up of people.
Yeah, and God goes, I'm asking myself the same question.
Yeah, but I was just praying to God, like, why do I feel like I'm just existing and wasting time and doing the same old thing? I want to be friends with people. I want to get to know people. And just, why does it feel like I'm stuck in the same circle?
Yeah, you're wanting relationship. Like that's what you're crying out for is true
Relationship and friendship and all that stuff, because my two love languages are words of affirmation and quality time.
You're amazing, man. This is awesome.
It's really
So
nice
good
to
sitting
spend
here
some
for
time
an hour
with
with
you.
you.
Yeah.
It's so good.
But I was praying to God, and skipping over a bit, but just I was sort of close to my wit's end, and I'm thinking, God, if anyone recommends me one more church, if it sucks like the previous two,
I'm never going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that intense. I'm not going to church anymore. I'm going to walk away from being a Christian because if it's just like this the whole time, then what's the point? I don't see any point. And then I could sense in my heart God saying to me one word, just a little bit of a giggle. Okay. And that was it. I'm thinking, oh, well, what's going to happen? So then Jasmine invited me to chapel. And I remember it was across the road from Pack Fair in Broad Beach.
Yeah.
And I was sticking to my old ways of just being antisocial, not talking to anyone, literally playing Pokemon Go on my phone in the corner, just not making any effort to talk to anyone. And then I remember it like it was yesterday. Malachi sits right next to me and he said, "Hey man, I'm Malachi. Nice to meet you." I could immediately sense those words that came out of his mouth were genuine. And I'm thinking, what's with this guy? Like, why don't I sense any ulterior motives? This guy's genuine. He, just from those simple words, he wants to be my friend. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
And then I found out shortly after, Jasmine told Malachi, that's my brother over there. He likes Pokemon. You like Pokemon. Go talk to him about
You
Pokemon.
love Pokemon.
She grew up in the early 2000s, just all over
He
it.
loved it as well. Malachi loved
Yeah,
Pokemon as well.
he's a Pokemon fan. But I remember, thinking about it, Jasmine gave him a cheat sheet on how to talk to me, but he just threw it out the window and he just, "Hey man, how's it going? Nice to meet you. My name's Malachi."
Oh, nice, Malachi.
And just, I'm like, wow, that's
You
actually
want to
really
go
cool.
and get some Gucci? What's the
Gucci.
what's the
Gucci.
isn't it a Pokemon thing?
Um,
Isn't one of them called Gucci or something?
nah, Gucci's a brand.
Oh,
You mean the handbag?
oh.
Something like that?
Want to go get some?
You know, when you go get a Pokemon.
Want to go catch them all? That's what you would say.
Oh, okay.
You threw me with
Isn't
the
there some
Gucci.
names, funny names or whatever?
Yeah. Want to go get some Bulbasaur or?
Charmander or whatever,
Oh,
Pikachu.
so Gucci's Pikachu.
Ah,
Oh, sorry, I was close. Gucci, Pikachu.
Bro.
you are very close.
I've never been that sort of guy. It's amazing how you crave something, but you revert to the opposite. Hey?
Yeah.
So isolation. So gaming, right?
Yes, that was a massive
Addiction.
addiction, crutch, escape, whatever you call it.
Yeah. Okay,
Escape's good, bro.
that's a good word.
Yeah. And it's hard now because it is socializing, you know. Even there is an aspect, I was going to say, don't you crap on Pokemon Go? Socializing in the park at midnight, chasing Pokemon. I never did that more than a handful of times.
Oh, you think you're bad. I was probably one of the worst people ever.
I don't doubt it, bro.
Oh,
But
mate.
to Marshall's point, it is actually and it is antisocial ultimately, and it's funny that what you really needed and wanted was some relationships, but you pushed deep into the opposite of that, being on your own.
But they, that's why they socialize addiction, right? To justify having the addiction. So it's not drinking privately. Let's just drink
Drinking
together.
with friends, yeah.
The pub, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not gambling individually. There's
Everybody's
a real,
doing it.
hey, bet with your mates. There's all this.
That's literally the slogan, yeah.
It's trying to socialize. So gaming now is you're in your own room, but you're virtually with
Others.
others. So
On the computer, talking to your friends on the mic.
talking to your friends that you don't really know.
I used to
Yeah.
do that
Yeah.
all the time. And then, all right, see you guys. And then log off. And then, I'm alone again. Just looking around like, just contemplating, what did I just do? I just wasted time.
Yeah.
When you were gaming heaps, when you finished, like when you did log off or shut down. Did you like feel did it feel like you didn't actually get anything out of it? You missed out? Not missed out, sorry, you didn't feel full. You could have.
No, yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, because at the beginning, it's fun. It's pretty much like a modern day drug addiction. As harsh as that sounds, I now see the truth. And, I would rather play video games than actually do real drugs. Like the difference is night and day, but similar patterns like a drug addict, withdrawals and all that stuff.
Cravings.
Yeah, I literally remember doing an internship and you told me, like when you gave us all of our roles, all right, Manny, your role is no Pokemon Go and no Tekken. And I thought, aha, very funny, Marshall. What is it actually? No, I'm serious. And that's when it hit me like a brick.
Yeah.
Okay.
So tell me, like, it was an addiction. How many hours a day were you gaming?
I lost count.
In a 24-hour period?
What did it look like?
Heavily leaning towards gaming. So like, what? Just a rough estimate, 10 to 15 hours plus. It was
A day.
Yeah, sometimes a day, sometimes less, but leaning more towards
10 hours a day.
daily. Yeah.
What did it look like? You wake up in the morning?
Wake up in the morning, eat breakfast, and then, all right, let's go play my favorite game or whatever. And then just all of a sudden, check the time. Oh, yeah, it's time to go to work, or when I was younger, time to go to school. And then I come back home, don't do homework, kept on playing games. And it was just, I remember my mum got mad at me one day because I was playing Super Mario Galaxy 2 and I was late for school. She's like, Emmanuel, hurry up. I've got to take you to school. I'm like, all right, let me save. And just as a kid, I didn't think much of it. But as I got older and older, I'm like, this could actually be a problem.
Yeah.
But I should be fine. Just kept on brushing it off.
Wow.
So when Marsh said no Tekken and no Pokemon, you were like, far out, hit you like a ton of bricks.
Yep.
What happened? Like, what did you do?
Because I just signed up for internship, I could have immediately walked away and like, nah, I'm not going to do that. But I remember just thinking, like, you're doing an internship. It's time for change. It's time for you to grow up, Emmanuel. So I remember showing you, hey, Marsh, I'm going to delete Pokemon Go off my phone just so you know I'm not going to go behind your back and do it.
I remember that.
And I could have easily just reinstalled it and played it behind your back without you even knowing. And then, yeah, I'm fine. But I've seen and heard so many stories on people doing that exact same thing and it just would fall apart.
Well, I don't think I ever checked your phone or anything because
you
you're
didn't.
only cheating yourself at the end of the day.
Exactly.
It doesn't really matter. It's your own walk. What's one of the part of the testimony you really wanted to share today?
How God pretty much uprooted a whole bunch of things that I thought was the norm, playing games, and changing it with one of the best, I don't want to use the word addiction, with the best obsession that I now have.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Piano.
Piano.
Because when this testimony was happening to me, I'm thinking, this is awesome. Young people like me and younger need to hear about this because gaming is being on the rise, I personally think.
No, it's a big time.
More people, I'm starting to hear that like more people were like me a couple of years ago. And I'm thinking, that's not good. Because, I remember you saying stuff like, it's fantasy, it's fake and all that stuff. What if the game were to shut off and then you don't have anyone to talk to?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, back then I thought, oh, that's not going to happen. Just in one ear, out the other. But then slowly, God was revealing to me, yeah, Marsh was right. God was talking through you.
What did you just
to
say?
me.
What did you just say?
Marsh was right.
Wow.
We'll cut that. We can edit that part out.
It does happen, Rochelle. I am.
She doesn't listen to this, but she hears you enough.
Oh.
No, it's weird how my memory and brain works because I just pick random things.
Yeah.
Like that person from this long ago said this. God, you said the same thing. Did you talk through them? Or did they just happen to say the exact thing that exact same thing that you said?
God uses people all the time.
Yeah.
bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I was thinking Marsh is right, then that's when it started. So this is my favorite story to tell.
Cool.
Not for the fact of look at me, everyone, like not for attention, but just even if my testimony can touch one person's heart for them to listen to God and change their life for the better, then I think that's mission accomplished.
Yeah, good, bro. Let's get it.
But yeah, it all started back in when I was living in 47 Cottesloe Drive, my house. And we were freshly new at chapel there for a couple of years. And I was surrounded by games, game consoles, game handhelds, you name it, I probably had it. And just, yeah, play games, get the fake dopamine hits in the brain.
Retro shop. Rabina.
Yeah.
That's your hangout.
Super retro, yeah.
Super retro.
I know that shop.
How do you know about that? You got some confessions to make over here, buddy?
I was a gamer growing
From
up.
way
It's all
back.
good.
Is that a Game Boy I see in your pocket?
Yeah.
In his side pocket, he's got a Game Boy.
You got it all.
Pretty much. I had a lot
Yeah.
of consoles.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought we were going to live in that house forever pretty much, pay it off, debt-free, live there. But then COVID happened. And then that messed up everyone, not just my family. So then we had to sell and move. And went to another house and my game room got smaller. I still had all my games, but I'm like, oh, this is getting a bit cramped now. Hopefully it doesn't get worse than this. And then, long story short, we bought another place. We were going to move there, delayed building and all that stuff. And we moved into another tiny house. It was like half a duplex. It was a matchbox. And I had no choice but to pack everything away. So that was when I was completely, I had no distractions at all. And I remember I was about to go to work and I just had a conversation with God. I didn't even pray to him. I'm like, God, I'm tired of just existing. I want to do something with myself. I would like to, one day get married, have a family, and support that family. I just don't see myself doing that with games. I thought about being a Twitch streamer and all that stuff and recording myself on YouTube and try to make money that way. But it's just not feasible from what I could see. And then God showed me a vision. I am in a white room, call it heaven, call it whatever. But there was this floating hand. Like when God talks to you, he talks to you in a way that you personally understand and know. So for me, when I was a kid at school, I loved when they would bring out the like the trolley with the TV on top with the VHS on the bottom. All right, class, we're gonna watch a movie in the middle of class. Like this is the best.
Well. Yeah.
It was
Always
awesome.
very good.
So a TV trolley rolls out, and then there's the VHS that says Emmanuel's Memories, and it gets plugged in, hits play, and I'm watching myself as a kid at school, and I'm thinking, what's happening here? So then I remember being in maths class when the teacher was doing the roll call, and I was just bored out of my mind because I'm like, I hate maths. I just hate school. I just want to go home and play games and all that stuff. And a student would get called out of maths and skip the whole maths class. And I'm like, hey, how do I do that? I want to skip maths. I want to do what that kid's doing. Didn't even think about it. So the next day, same thing's happening, roll call. And then I'm like, that teacher comes in. Any of you remember Casey McDonald?
Yep.
Yep, she was a piano teacher. She was a music teacher at King's Christian College.
Yep.
And then I said to her, Miss, how do I skip maths? I didn't even know what I was getting into. I'm like, I hate maths. I want to do what that kid's doing. What do I do? Okay, I see what you want to do. So she takes my hands, takes me to a room, turns on the light switch and goes, you're going to be playing that. And I see a keyboard. And I'm like, all right. I didn't know what I was getting into, but I'm like, if I could skip maths, then all right, I'll do this. And when I was playing the piano, it was fun. I had fun, enjoying, learning, until I got my PlayStation 2. Another massive time waste. But then that's when the VHS ended. And then God said to me, Emmanuel, I gave you a path to walk on, and you chose to walk away from it. What I want you to do, it just has something to do with the piano. He didn't even tell me what I was going to be. I had no idea, but I remember God saying it has something to do with the piano. And then I came to my own conclusion, like, okay, so you want me to play the piano? Yeah. Oh, that sounds easy, without distractions. And that's when it took a good 5 minutes to process what he said, because I'm like, oh God, you're serious about this? He goes, yep. I want you to sell everything that's packed away. Sell it all. Get away from distractions and do what I tell you.
And you just got a PS2.
No,
This is a dream.
That was when I was watching.
this is after the dream. This is what he's telling you to do.
Oh no, it was a vision actually. Before I went to work. This all happened in the span of like 5 to 10 minutes.
Wow.
And then when I was driving to work, I was thinking, do I actually do this? I don't know if I can do this.
Pretty big.
It's a big step, because I remember doing an internship. You told me to, just a detox from games, but not purge, right? And then God pretty much told me to purge everything. And I remember he said to me, you did it when you were doing internship. You can go further.
Yeah.
You can do it, Emmanuel.
Nice.
And I'm thinking, I don't even know if I can do this, but God, you answered my prayer. I know what I want to do now. Let's just not think about it too much and let's go for it. So I remember when I parked my car and I was about to walk into work, God said, all right, delete Pokemon Go, as in shut down your account, delete everything, don't play that game anymore. If you can do that, then you can
Go to the next step.
You can go to the next step, yeah. And normally, whenever you send a account deletion email to the company, it takes a couple of days. In like the next 2 minutes, I got it.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, that was fast. All right, I guess this is serious. And that's it. We're going for it. So
How long ago was that?
2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, thinking back, I was so addicted to not only Pokemon Go, but a whole bunch of other games.
Yeah.
Just such a massive time sink. At the time, it was fun, But then looking back, I'm like, I got nothing to show for that. It's just pointless.
So you end up getting rid of everything, right?
Yeah.
And just because it's pretty huge what you did, and just for the sake of time, man, what was it? What did you fill your time with? And then how was the gap filled? What was the experience of being so attached to it and then ultimately getting rid of it? And how does it feel now? Like, I guess if you could answer those things, like, what did it feel like initially? What did you fill it with, your time with? And then what's it feel like now? What are you doing now?
I can't remember exactly what I filled it with, but I remember being like, okay, God, you told me to walk away from this. I don't want to go back to my old ways, so I'm just going to do what I know best and just be around good company, people at chapel and all that stuff. You know, building Lego, I guess, and just trying to preoccupy myself with nothing game related at all. And then when I sold everything, oh my gosh, it was a part of my life pretty much. I had such fond memories of it. But looking back, I had a fun childhood, but a very lonely childhood. Wow. And when I sold everything at Super Retro, the guy said, okay, you have a lot of stuff here. It's going to be about half an hour, 45 minutes. So come back when that time is up. So I was walking around and thinking, do I pull the plug? Do I go back? No, just it's all right. God's got everything under control. And then I come back, and then the guy told me the price, made quite a bit of money. And then as I'm walking to put my money in the bank,
can I ask what you got for all this stuff?
$900, $950, something like that.
A couple consoles, heaps of games.
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
And no joke, as I'm walking to the bank to put my money in my account, I call it the Blessing Corner right at Robina Town Centre. There's the Maya shop and then Bed, Bath and Table right in that little corner where there's the escalators.
Yeah.
I see a $50 note on the floor. And I'm looking around to see if anyone was patting their pockets, did I lose money? If I saw that person, I'd like, here you go, you must have lost this. But no one was there. And I'm like, all right, this is mine. But then it splits in two. So it was $100 off the ground.
Oh.
And I thought, if I get a random blessing like this, I must be doing something right. So thank you, God, for this. Put the money in the account. And then I said, all right, God, you want me to learn the piano? I need a piano teacher. Where do I find a piano teacher? And then did all the stuff. We tried to, find piano teachers. Too far, too expensive and all that stuff. But then we ended up talking to Casey MacDonald again. And she goes, I don't teach adults, I teach little kids. But I have a friend of mine who knows, who can teach. And as I was about to go to work again, my mum gets a phone call from Patrina Tuppen. And I just got a piano teacher there and then.
So you got two passions in the one house. You've got the piano teacher and the Lego master.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
One house. In that one house.
Yeah, I remember the first day going over to her house. I'm like, there's a lot of Lego here. What, are you and your kids into Lego? Oh, my husband is.
He's a Lego master.
Like, who's your husband? Andrew Tuppen. I'm like, who's that? From Lego Masters. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know that show, but I don't watch TV, so yeah.
Wow.
And funny story, my parents tell me this. When I was a baby or something, they used to go to Surf City, and Andrew Tuppen was the music director there, and he was an amazing piano player. He still is to this day.
Yeah, he's Amazing
He
musician.
even taught me one lesson, just the simple formula on how to play Christian music. It's so easy. Like 90% of Christian songs all use the same formula. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's that easy. Wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
No, he's a really good at composing as well, like arranging, I should say.
Yeah.
Often a music director. So it's awesome.
Well, I know more detail of your testimony and a lot of the things that have been happening around your decisions that you're making, and like God blessing you in that. So I'm fortunate to know that. But it's cool to hear that like your decision to play piano, to get rid of other stuff and then to actually learn something is bringing you into more relationship with people. It's giving you something to do, you know, being a part of the team and learning and, you know, potentially playing and, you know, when people are worship leading and doing stuff soon, which is awesome, bro. It's like, it's like a blessing, and that's God's plan for your life, which is epic for you to have a good relationship and be doing stuff in the community, not on your own, just jamming games. But like, man, what's some advice, like just in sort of wrapping up, like what's some advice for some young dudes that might listen that are that don't have an issue and they're playing for 10 hours a day or whatever?
I'll answer this in two parts. So my recommendation is, you know, as fun as games are, there's going to be a time where that will stop and you're going to play it a lot less or not at all, and replace it with a good hobby, something that has value and merit. Like playing an instrument, it can get you a job somewhere. It literally can. Or doing any other hobbies that are just end up benefiting you in the long run. So my staple recommendation, you want to learn a hobby, play an instrument. It's not that hard. It's so much fun.
Way better use of your time.
Yeah.
Productive.
And I'll answer the second part with what God done to me. For the young dudes and for the young kids out there playing games, get away from distractions and listen to what God has to say.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Unplug everything. Have nothing that you know in the back of your mind is going to go off, like your phone notification or something. Just isolate yourself and just like, God, I want to hear from you. What do you want me to do? And when he tells you to do something, don't think too much about it. Just do it. Jump in full force and do it.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is good.
That's cool.
It's very good. Well, I'm proud of you, mate. Yeah,
very
you've
good.
Done well to ultimately, it's a habit, man. Like it's
an addiction.
Yeah, it is an addiction. It's you've done really well
Dopamine search.
to get rid of it, and it's cool to see the fruit coming pretty quickly for you. It's been a grind, though, eh?
Oh, yeah, it's not easy. It's almost like I'm setting people up for a trap. But, yeah, when you play an instrument, it's fun. If you're more serious about it, you're going to have to do music theory, and that is ridiculously hard. But I just find it a fun challenge. It's like God made me pivot
Nice.
and now to go in a new direction. So whenever I learn music theory and learn a new piano song, the dopamine hits in my brain are just as good, if not even better, than when you beat the final boss in a video game or, you know, play online co-op and beat the final dungeon boss or whatever. I don't know what games these kids play nowadays, but it's so much fun and so worth it in my opinion.
That's awesome.
That's so good, bro. Thank you. And we didn't get enough time for you to tell a story about how I was right at one point. But that's okay.
Yeah, I'll tell that story.
Thanks for your time. Thanks, Manny.
Oh, good. Thanks for having me.